Well, hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Dreams Guide podcast. I'm John Thomas, and we're going to jump right into a dream. I have my friend Trinity with us. Thanks for coming, Trinity.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so good. So you had a dream you wanted to share. Well, you had a couple dreams, but you chose one of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I actually had this dream. I'm really weird with dates. I remember dates. And I had it on July 4th of 2020.
Okay.
So I've been sitting on it for a while.
Okay.
So
almost a year.
Yeah. So I'm going to read it so that I don't leave out any details. Is that okay?
Yeah,
okay.
That's fine.
So I was packing up food in insulated bags for a trip I was going on. I was in the kitchen and I had to leave at 6 o'clock and it was 5:55. I don't know if it was a.m. or p.m. I just know it was 5:55. I looked out the window and there was a parade on the main road by my house. Not sure what that has to do anything, but it's just a detail. So I made myself some cereal and I put it in a thermos to eat while I was packing. But I set it on the counter and I kept packing. And then when I got back to it, it was soggy. So I didn't want the soggy cereal, so I dumped it out. And I decided to make more, but I didn't think I'd have enough time. So I checked the clock and it was still 5:55. And I realized I had plenty of time, which is kind of weird because I had to leave at 6, but it was 5:55.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to decide what kind of milk I wanted in my cereal. So I didn't know if I wanted regular milk, chocolate milk, or almond milk. And I knew I should probably pick almond milk, but I really, really wanted chocolate milk in my cereal. Sounds like me.
Yeah.
And I thought that if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have time to make another bowl of cereal. But I checked the clock again, and it was still 5:55. And I was like, oh, I have plenty of time. If I don't like it, I can just dump it out and make another bowl again. And so I put the chocolate milk in my cereal, and I ended up loving it. And I finished packing up the food in the insulated bags. And I put the bags on my shoulder, and I was getting ready to head out. And I looked at the clock again, and it was still 5:55. So I was still doing good on time.
Okay.
And then I headed out the door, and then I woke up.
Okay. 5:55.
Yeah.
Well, let me repeat it back. Let's see if I can remember this.
I know, it's super weird, though.
It's cool. I love, you're going to love 5:55. Like,
Okay.
there's a really good meaning to that.
Okay.
All right, so you're getting ready to go on a trip. You're going somewhere, and you know that you need to leave at 6 o'clock, and you're packing stuff up. And you weren't sure if it was a.m. or p.m., is it night or is it morning, but you just knew you had to leave at 6, and right now it was 5:55. So you looked at the clock, it's 5:55, and you're thinking, okay, so I'm going to have my cereal and I'm going to finish packing up. So you make cereal in your thermos, and so you could eat it while you're packing, but then you're packing up and you forgot about it. And later you realize, wait a second, I forgot about that cereal. It was all soggy. You're like, I'm not going to eat soggy cereal. So you dump that out. And you're like, do I have enough time? So you look at the clock and you realize, well, it's 5:55. I've got plenty of time. And so you're wanting to make some more cereal and you're trying to decide, do you want to use almond milk or regular milk or chocolate milk? And you really want chocolate milk. You kind of think maybe you should have the almond milk. And what if I don't like it? And you looked at the clock again and you realize, well, it's 5:55. If I don't like it, I can dump it out and I can make another batch.
Yes.
And so you decide, okay, I'm just going to go for it. And you make it with chocolate milk and you start eating it and you're loving it. You finish packing up your bags and you grab them all and you're holding them on your shoulder and you go to walk out the door and you look at the clock again and it's still 5:55.
Yes.
Now, question about that. In the dream, was it odd that it was always 5:55 or it's just like, oh, it's 5:55?
It wasn't odd.
It was not odd at all,
Yeah.
which that's one of the keys in thinking about dreams. Like in a dream, if it's odd, then that might have a particular meaning. But the fact that it's just normal, it helps to dial in what it might mean. So what you're packing food into like these insulated bags to take with you on this trip that you're going on.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I'm not 100% sure what to do with 6 o'clock. Like if the six actually has meaning, or if it's just that it's shortly after 5:55, because the 5:55 has meaning,
Okay.
right? So I'm not 100% sure what to do with the six. So I'm going to kind of leave that vague
Okay.
and not say exactly what six means. But you're going on a trip, and specifically, you're taking food. Now, is this food for you, or is it just general food that you're going to need on the trip?
I think the food was for me.
For you. Okay.
Yes.
So, a lot of times, food will talk about like spiritual nourishment, things that you need to learn. It's what you're going to need to give you the energy to get to where you're going. The Bible talks about food in kind of like spiritual food, like teaching. So you should be eating meat, but I still have to serve you milk. So the idea of, the food was the teaching. It's the understanding of who God is and the understanding of his ways. And so you're getting prepared to do something, and you're realizing you're going to need understanding. Now, it's not just the understanding you're going to need when you get there. You want nourishment now. So the cereal that you're eating is like, I want to be ready. I want to be filled up. So there's the spiritual food part of eating cereal, but a breakfast cereal versus a dinner cereal. Now, you weren't sure in the dream whether it was night or the morning, but the cereals is something that you get when you wake up.
Yes.
And one of the pictures in scripture is kind of being awake, which is being alert, being focused, realizing what's going on. Jesus constantly said, be alert, be awake. I can come back at any time. And it's talking about making sure you're doing all the right things, that you're ready, you're awake. And so this is specifically this dream. There's something you're called to do, and you know that you need to get prepared for it. And you're starting to wake up spiritually in certain areas of your life. And you realize that to get to where you're going, like you need some understanding for this new time, this new awakening. You're going to need other understanding as you get there, but you need that understanding, that cereal. But you haven't grabbed hold of what was available right away. And so you realize, wait a second, this was last season's food, and it's no longer what I need right now. I need something right now. What do I need? And God is going to give you the spiritual food you need in a way that you really enjoy it.
Wow.
It's not going to be like, I don't really like this, but it's what's good for me type thing. What he's going to be feeding you is going to be something that's very enjoyable to you as well as nourishing to you. It's going to be cereal, but it's going to be the chocolate milk. Like, I like this. I enjoy this type thing. And it's that preparation. The 555 is a season of grace, because 5 often represents grace. It talks about that each one is given grace according to Christ's measure in Ephesians chapter 4. And then it lists 5 different types of grace: apostle, prophet. So the idea of 5 is often connected to grace. So 555 is grace. There's grace for the past, and there's grace for the time that you need right now. And that season of grace doesn't end.
Wow.
You don't run out of time when you're in a season of grace. And so don't be afraid that you've taken too long and you've missed what God is calling you to. There's grace for where you're at, and you're going to have what you need at the right time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why does that make me want to cry? That's so good.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
So that makes sense to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I feel like I have been in a season of wondering if I've missed it. Like, have I missed it? Have I made wrong choices that have caused me to be hindered in whatever it is that he has for me? So this is really encouraging.
Wow.
It's really encouraging.
That's so good. Awesome. Well, it'd be great if the dream told us a little bit more about what the destination's going to be, but sometimes dreams don't tell us about that. The message of the dream's not so much about where you're going to be going, but the fact of where you're at right now, and you're going to be prepared.
Wow.
Like what you're getting this season while you're waiting, this season right now, you're getting what you need so that when you get there, you'll be ready.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's so good.
Awesome.
That's so good.
Yay.
So I have a question. Like, I feel like I have dreams all the time. Probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 a night. And lately I haven't been remembering all of them. I might remember like a snippet here or there. But do you think that if it was actually important that the Lord would make sure I remembered it? Or do you think that's like a discipline that I need to develop? Because I had this dream that I had almost a year ago, and I know when I had it. Oh, and I woke up at 5:55 after that dream, which is really funny.
That's hilarious.
Like I got my phone and I checked it and it was
Come on.
5:55.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I remember all of these details about that specific
Right.
dream. So I'm like, is that something that the Lord really wants me to hold on to?
Yeah.
Or
Well, let me ask a question. So the dreams that you're only remembering snippets of, are you writing them down when you wake up? Have you been not writing down dreams?
there have been some that I've written down, but then when I wake up and I read what I wrote, it makes no sense.
Okay. Okay. Good. Well, there's a couple different reasons for things like that. So sometimes, I've noticed a theme. Like if I start having dreams and I'm like, oh, I'm just too tired. I don't want to wake up enough to actually write it down. And I don't get up and write it down. I'll start to have less dreams, or I'll remember that I dreamt, but I don't always remember all the pieces. But there's also seasons. And funny enough, I've talked to a lot of people in the last 18 months that would traditionally remember more dreams, that are having the sense of dreaming but not remembering them. Now, I've talked to another group of people that seem they're remembering dreams more than they have. So it's not like that's across the board, but I've had a number of people that have mentioned that to me. So there seems to be something for that. So if you know that you're doing the same things that you've always done, like you're still, if you remember a dream, you're writing it down, you're asking the Lord what it means, that's not the issue, then there are seasons where you'll remember less of your dreams and seasons when you're more. Continue to ask the Lord, Lord, if you're saying something that you want me to hear, help me to understand. I want to hear your voice. You've got to make it clear.
Yeah.
And when you're having a conversation, if somebody's not talking loud enough, you just ask them to speak up.
That's good.
That's normal, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel weird. It's like you don't feel bad for saying, would you please speak up? Because you want to hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
You can do that with the Lord. Lord, I want to hear what you're saying. Speak up.
Wow. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So feel free to do that. But yeah, if you can't think of any reason and you're asking the Lord, then just realize your spirit is getting a lot more than your mind is getting. And Job 33, it talks about dreams that we have, and then God seals the dream. He seals the instruction so that we don't remember it when we wake up. And that sealing, what it means is God will give us a dream, but then when we wake up, it's sealed, it's hidden. We don't remember it, but at the right time it comes out.
Wow.
And it's those moments where you're talking to a friend and you have an answer and you didn't even know that you knew the answer to it. A lot of times those are things that God has spoken to our spirit, and our mind didn't catch it, but our spirit got it. And when we need it, it's available.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What do we have to do for our mind to catch it?
Sometimes our mind isn't supposed to. Sometimes our mind isn't supposed to. If we're spending our time in prayer, we're spending time in worship, we're spending time in the Word, there's going to be stuff that our spirit gets, and when the time is right, our minds will catch up. But we put way too much emphasis on our mind's capacity to understand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
So good.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
For having
and thanks for the
me.
dream. That's a fun one. What encouragement.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't have been
You're the
encouraging
one that got
had,
encouraged.
had you not had that interpretation, because I just thought it was confusing and weird.
Why is it always 5:55? It's not changing. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you, Trinity.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for joining us for this episode of the Dreams Guide podcast. I'm John Thomas. We'll see you next time.